So I'm going to go through some of this again, redo some of it. So what I did is I shorted out this transformer. I put a 12AU7 here, so the center tap is pin 9 on a 12AU7. I'll get to this later, but I'm just... so I put the center tap, it'd be a 6.3 filament, 6.3 filament with a center tap. So I put that to ground, obviously. I scorched the transformer twice. I'll get into that after, but I'm going to do some different kind of testing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hook up to the video control grid with my tester. Then I'm going to hook up to, I put those things in so I can hook up to this control grid and second, and I'll hook up to the first control grid. Now these control grids are raised above ground. These cathodes do not ground. They're floating on this B plus line here, wherever it's at. See, it's running at like 115 volts, I think. I never measured them. I'm horrible measuring, but if you read this, measure from pin 7 of V2. So we look at V2. Second IF, pin 7 is right up here. So focus, pin 7 is grid number 3. So it comes down here and it looks like there's a dot here. It looks like it's, I'll look at it better, but I'm pretty sure. So, and another thing I was reading in a book, and it recommended disconnecting the vertical oscillator from the sync separator. So I'm going to also remove this resistor in a point. It might not be in this video, but I'm going to do another video after if I remember to do all this stuff that the book is recommending. So apparently if the vertical oscillator is defective, it can also cause that horizontal, what's it called, pulling. I haven't researched a lot of it all, but then also I'm going to be hooking up and look at these at like the horizontal frequency and vertical frequency and see what I can see there, 30 hertz and then like 1500 hertz or whatever it is for the horizontal frequencies, and see what I can see here. I think there's a problem with that horizontal pulling, that the video, or I mean the sync signal could be absent or weak. So I'll get my books here. I'll get my book out real quick and touch on a few of those. That's this book here. I'll find my page. So here we are is one of them. Horizontal. This is a very severe one. Then we got some poor vertical. Now this don't have that hammer head. Okay, so here's like the, I guess a good signal, and this is a crappy signal. So if your signal looks like this, you could have the horizontal pulling. Let me see something here. Okay, here's a good hammerhead there. That's what we used to call it when we were kids. So, I mean, that's a good one if you get the vertical to roll. And if you have this one here, apparently the sync signal is weak in the video output. I don't want to go through all this. Maybe I can go through all this later, but so this is a blanket bar. Okay, this is a normal, and this one here is abnormal. If that's readable. Okay. So this has like a bunch of sync signals that has to do with certain TV sets, but I just keep stuff in mind. And mine also could be have this mild pie crust thing. I'm not sure. So here's the one I was thinking about because of that sparking bit is kind of resembles this. So this stuff here, I was going to look at my yoke sockets and stuff in the dark. I might do that after, but I don't really believe mine is in the high voltage now. I don't think it's, I think it's, well, I'll kind of demonstrate what I think here by when I turn the TV on. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. This book is available on eBay on a CD-ROM, or you can purchase a disc for. I think it's lesser than $20. I think it's like $12 and some. This is this book I have is a 19 copyright, 1956, and so. So right now I have my test thing hooked up to this control grid. Chassis all the way up. It always has a nasty vertical. That's why I'm going to disconnect that 22K resistor in there. I took the Bumblebee out, 3,300 picofarads, worth 400 volts. It starts getting leaky at about 3 1/4. These other two resistors I took out, I'll be working with these tubes after. This is the one where I have the control grid of the video output bent over. And this is one I have the control grid chopped off of the IF tube. I'll be working with that. I did replace the, so I do have problems with the vertical, which that's not the problem right now. So let me see something here. So back on. No, for some reason I have full vertical deflection. I was fiddling with that. So she's kind of irritable. So what would worry me about that irritability, the flashes in there, because I had my RCA Victor tube deflection coils go on it, so sparky stuff kind of worries me. So this is in the video amplifier, straight in, and I don't have the jittering here. Pretty clean. I suppose I can shut the top here so the light don't affect it. I like the heat to come out, but I did some cleaning on these. It had that tin whisker stuff inside those, believe it or not. So so I'm gonna right now, let me see this thing. So that stuff down here is in there. That's the stuff I'm concerned about, that flashy bit. So I'm going to move on really quickly here because I'm already into 10 minutes. That's my third IF. Let's make sure I have things correctly. So I'm going through this DC blocker. It's hooked up to the third IF. I'm going to leave this. Oh, hold on here. Okay, I'm one up on IF here. This is attenuators all the way up. Okay, let me adjust this. This is the third IF. I'll change the contrast here, darken it up. So I'll see if I can get it to roll vertically. That's kind of difficult to do. And see if I can look for that hammerhead. It's not going to roll. It won't roll for me. So touch on that later, probably on the next video. Okay, this is second IF. Has a lot of that sparking stuff happening. Okay. Now I'll turn this meter on here. I got her at 1,000 volts. So now this is control grid number 1 of IF number second IF. So it has a B plus voltage of a positive voltage of 229. And if I hook up to the third IF, I think it's like 150 some volts. So you got to be sure. I think it recommended using a 0.001 capacitor, but I have this set up. So again, I'm hooked up to this thing, one up on IF. This thing works a little above 45. Oh, I had above 45 before. Must have changed attitudes. So it has that horizontal pulling and that sparking stuff I don't like. Okay, moving on. Okay, now I'm direct coupled into the tuner input, first IF. So we definitely got the horizontal pulling. This time I am going to remove those glass diodes and deal with them. I don't see that flashing right now. Okay. So this is, I'm going to move on to a little more advanced here. So I thought it might have that pie crust shape. Somewhat, maybe. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just disconnect. I'm going to connect the tuner back up, and I'm going to just have the RF amp removed. That's what I'm going to do next. Now, vertical is usually kind of nasty here. Okay, so I have the tuner. I got the mixer oscillator plugged in, but I have the Cascade RF amp out. That one there I have pulled out of the tuner. And this top one's where I seen all that whisker stuff. I gotta take care of this bare wire on this 0.01 too. I keep noticing that. It's actually quite a ways away, but I'm gonna put a sleeve on it. So I've been using this thing. I'm going to get rid of this thing because this thing's a real piece of crap and it's very hard to deal with. So now the thing is here, I can sit there and have this run for the longest time and it does not get that sparking, and that's where this stuff come in to play, because I first did it without the video amplifier. I'd get a clean screen, I wouldn't get that sparking stuff. Same thing with the IFs. I'd go to third IF with a cutoff control grid, second IF, first IF, same thing. I would not get that sparking. Then I had a TV show going that would go down to complete darkness, and it would not show that until video come back in. So I think this has something to do with the video or the sync signal absent, or the automatic gain control overloading. So my next video from this one, I'm gonna start hooking my scope up in various places and see if I can find, figure out that what the sync is supposed to look like in the video. So, so I don't believe it's the damper tube arcing. This tube did arc when I first turned it on after I recapped it and everything. It did have an arcing issue, the 60Q6 or whatever it is, 6CU6. And I did put the 12AU7 in where that went, and I fried the vertical output twice, so had it cooking twice. So I'm going to do some testing with that too, with these, I'm not going to use this one, but these flyback testers. I'm going to test this vertical output, and I'll probably have an audio output transformer handy for some of that kind of testing and comparison stuff, even though the transformers are completely different. So I do not get none of that sparking bit. So now I'll put the tuner tube in. Let me see, how's that going? I think it goes in. Yeah, right. There she goes. Okay. I know what way it faces. It faces a little below 3 o'clock. Well, I need a tuner converter put in. So here's what I get. I have to pull back on contrast to be able to see that hammerhead. See, it shows the hammerhead, so I must have a sync pulse at the video output, because it said if that hammerhead was missing, then you don't have a sync pulse, I guess. I got a lot of that stuff happening. I'll turn the contrast up.
What about your wife? Oh, she's no help. I've tried everything. I've stayed out all night, drinking, gambling, carousing, and never won
So,
from her. She's an angel.
Reading that one part in the book that says the vertical can affect the synchronization bit. So I'm gonna take, like I say, I'm gonna take this chassis out here, remove that 22K resistor.
Will that doorbell never ring?
Oops.
I'll get it.
So I'm going to try something else here.
It's a lovely teenage stranger.
Okay, I'm back to this. Now what I'm going to try to do is pull back on the maybe I can look at it through this, the attenuator here. Full blast. Let me weaken it up here. Get it weak here, see what's happening. So down here it has retrace lines. I'll try adding a little more in here. I thought maybe the sparky stuff might disappear, but at a weaker RF going in there, or what am I going? Yeah, RF, I'm going into the tuner. So that sparking exists. I'll really quickly here pull the tuner tube. This is the, ouch, sucker's hot now. This is the Cascade RF amp. 6BZ7, I believe. So that sparkiness is gone. And I've watched it quite a long time like this. I never seen it show up. So it must be in the sync separator stuff, the syncing stuff, or automatic gain control bit, I think. So I think according to what I read the other night is if you got the sync all the way up to here, you'll get the hammerhead in that vertical bar when it rolls. And so this here, I look at this like when we used to make CB radios in the 70s, we had a audio amplifier and that modulated the oscillator. So this is like coming off of here and running down here and going to the automatic gain control stuff. And I noticed that the automatic gain control only goes to this control grid. It does not go into the tuner at all. The only thing is you got 115, 250, and the 6.3. And I may disconnect the AC from that and hook up a battery, but I don't know. I mean, so I thought maybe these could be out of tune, so it's not allowing the sync signal through properly, but I'm not good at probably checking that, but I'm going to try. I'll look at this part here, hook the scope up here and look at that sync, the video signal, see if I could figure out where the sync is supposed to be in it, synchronization, pulsation, whatever. And then I will also look at this here. That must have a pulsation if it's going down to here, to that control grid. And that one shoots up for the automatic gain control. And I always thought something tapped off of here, though, into the horizontal AFC for that sawtooth bit. Maybe it's this. No. So I will remove these diodes and try to replace them with something. There's the 0.0033 I just replaced. I put a yellow jacket in there. I tested it. Maybe I'll interrupt this and see if that waviness goes away. I suppose I could just pull the sync tube. Maybe I could try that, but then I suppose the horizontal and vertical just go nuts. I'm going to try that right now. So this is Order Beginner's Corner. This is April 25th. This model right there, the C106. Moving on. Tuner tubes back in. It's kind of snowy. I think I should have get the vertical. I think I put the vertical down to look at it. I think I'll put a TV channel on instead of this.
On your next order for being your own delivery driver. Because every great delivery driver deserves a tip.
What was that?
Domino's tipping $3. Only
It's kind of out of focus too.
We tried to soothe it with this.
Pulling back on contrast here. It doesn't look silvery like that. It really doesn't. So I do have.
As a struggling actor, I need all the breaks that I can get.
Get this out of here.
Liberty Bibbity. Liberty Mutual.
I do have this grounded and going to. No, I don't.
need.
Action.
Cut. You can't say that.
Sorry.
I had this to here somehow.
Liberty? Liberty.
I'll reattach it, but it's just going from that aluminum. That's how the back of the picture tube is grounded through that, so I'll hook that up. Not the hell with it. So I'm going to pull the sink tube out here. Let's see if I can establish a horizontal. It doesn't have a ringing coil. It highly recommends you adjust this as close as possible and adjust your ringing coil. This don't have a ringing coil, this TV.
They were the first to be verified by USP, an independent organization that sets strict quality and purity.
So she's running freely. I don't see that sparkiness. And this tube is a different sink tube.
We told Reggie Miller Wendy's will give away our amazing breakfast biscuits for $1 for everybody who weeks.
No luck.
I wish it had a ringing coil so I could straighten that out more.
For a buck, choose life. Choose wings.
I'm so glad we had this time together. Just to have a laugh or sing a song. Since we just get started,
I don't think it's rolling vertically. I have another sink tube down in here someplace. Okay, I'll put it back in. Okay, she's in. It's kind of blurry. So right around here you can see the sparking a little bit. And it said something about the automatic gain control not being bypassed well. But that's for horizontal pulling. And horizontal pulling don't look too bad here. But when you get the darks, it gets worse.
You and me. Me. TV. TV. It's the one you really love.
Okay, I took care of that blurriness. I just had to adjust the fine tuning. Didn't think of that.
And the owner's got. Thanks. Fulfill. Please. Why don't you meet Evelyn on the dock?
So that's that crap flying around, all that stuff.
From the office?
There are a number of important letters here for your signature and the report you wanted.
Why wasn't this report forwarded to me in Honolulu? I gave Carver specific
It
instructions.
wasn't complete until a few days ago. And you're already on your way back.
I
Evelyn?
wish I had extensions so I could extend the
For a few minutes. It's important.
the yoke and the picture tube so I could work with it and watch the picture tube, but I obviously can't.
You can bring the company car back in the morning.
Why, thank you, Ben.
Oh, Andrews. We're giving a party aboard ship tomorrow night. One of
So I'll leave it at this. This is about it for now.